Hello. I am in the middle of packing all my stuff. I'm getting ready to move out of New York City in a couple days, and honestly, it's a lot of bittersweet feelings. Packing your life in boxes and figuring out what to take with you for the next 8 months of your life is a lot harder than you might think. But anyway, I just wanted to sit down for a second, just like stop the packing mindset and film a quick little video. Except my videos never end up being that quick and I tend to ramble, and I'm sorry. And if you do make it through the end, I appreciate it. But you know what I always say is take what you want, leave what you don't need for anything I say, and I'm just here to share my opinion, and if it resonates with you, cool. Um, so I've been reflecting a lot on everything I've been experiencing since I moved here to the city back in September. Um, and a lot of people have stopped me, come up to me, especially on the subway, being like, "You seem like a very spiritual person. What do you know about spirituality? What is spirituality?" And I think it's important to have this conversation and dialogue because, especially nowadays, with this whole new age movement and the term hippie and spiritual being thrown around a lot, it's like, what even is it? I believe that definition differs for everyone. But for me, spirituality is a term to describe that which is beyond human. So, whatever in this world, this reality that operates, that is not in human control, um, I would call that spiritual. So, for example, nature. And you'll notice that the parts of this world that aren't human, there is an order to it. It's not chaotic. It's quite beautiful and trusting. And some people, they call it God or divine intelligence or even nature intelligence. But there is definitely something beyond our own intellect that's running the show. And, if you just look in nature and look around you, you'll realize that to be true. And I believe spirituality is our ability to tune and tap into that intelligence, this underlying order. And that will allow us to be as perfect an expression of that intelligence as the intelligence itself. This is the life force, essence, energy that runs the planets and the sun, that causes it to turn, that makes our heart beat, that makes the weather, like all these things that are just happening that aren't causes of human, but at the same time they're happening within us. It's a part of us, just like that, this small little pine cone that turns into a huge pine tree, or how a baby comes from a sperm and an egg, or how the perfect mix of oxygen and nitrogen form these gases that make human life possible. It's all these miracles on earth. Like that's divine, that's beautiful, and there's an order, and experiencing that within yourself, what people would call spiritual guidance. For me personally, I experience it as a knowing. It's a no-brainer. You just know. Have you ever had things happen where you don't even need to explain yourself? You know it in the core of your being. It goes beyond the mind and the intellect. Sometimes we just know to do things. And then there are many things in life that we just don't know. Um, Especially as a society, as a culture, we've taught ourselves to push through not knowing. We've kind of made not knowing bad and knowing good. So what we do is, if the answer for something is I don't know, well, that's unacceptable. So we'll just make something up, or we'll guess, or we'll try to work it out, or we study what someone else did. We don't trust that we'll know what we know, and we'll know that we know when we know. And it turns out human beings are kind of designed this way. We operate optimally with our conditioned minds to operate in black and white. When I know something, then I know. And when I don't know, I don't. So why try to force it if I don't know? My advice, to live a spiritually guided life and transcend this human conditioning of looking at things in a black and white way so you can enter this spiritual realm of timelessness and start to see the world in a dimension of color and realization that you never have before, is stop trying so hard. It's like you're in a sailboat and you put up your sail and you're trying to blow, trying to get the boat to move rather than waiting for the wave of inspiration, or that wind of knowing. So don't make up stuff you don't know, and don't always, like, the mind likes to overthink and talk yourself out of it. And when you feel something, it's like, what is this? What is this God? What is this intelligence? What is this feeling I'm getting? Oh, I don't know. Blah, blah, blah. And it's just, we need to, just be. Allow yourself to be lived by this implicit order that runs our universe. And then it's going to become so obvious. I couldn't know before I knew. And it's funny how much I've second guessed myself to the knowing, to the point that I thought I didn't know. And we all kind of do that to some extent. But don't think you don't know what you're doing. We're all on a spiritual path, whether we realize it or not, to realize and connect with this divine intelligence that runs the universe as well as our own lives. And the knowing has nothing to do with the intellect. So your being is the knowledge of this creation. And it's quite tantalizing and a beautiful invitation to consider that somehow encoded in our being is the knowing, and that we are an extension of it. We are an extension of this knowledge of creation. Therefore, it's in us, and we express it through us. And when you get in that flow, that state of no mind, that when you're just so happy and you get all these synchronicities and things just start happening, that is that divine expression flowing itself through us. And all that pain and suffering and anxiety that we're experiencing as a collective and individually are all just us getting in our own way. And we need to work through those blockages, work with the pain, and thus allow the spiritual guidance to come through us. So we just need to cultivate a greater receptivity to experiencing this guidance. My advice is to open up some space in your day, week, time where there isn't really anything planned. That way you can allow for something miraculous to show up in the moment. And, it gets to this point where it's like, am I using the guidance, or is the guidance using me? And it's like this beautiful dance of consciousness. It's like you can't really tell who's leading and who's following. And that's the true joy in life. You get in that zone, you get in that flow state, you get in this moment of just pure bliss and joy. And it's that purpose of just recognizing how mighty we all are, and just being a vehicle for this implicit order and intelligence of the universe to express itself through you. Okay, so I have some good news for you. There's a lot less to do than you think there is. The system is doing it. It's like you're the surfer, and then there's the wave. But the wave is doing the heavy lifting. You're just learning how to ride it and make it fun and add your own style and spice. But the innate intelligence and this implicit order is unfolding. So it's this experience of the moment. Just be able to relax and allow for something wonderful to happen. Relaxation is the result of seeing how it works, seeing how this spiritual thing works. It's like being in a river, and if I know the water will carry me, then I'll relax and flow with it. But if I didn't know that, I might tense up and fight it and start to sink. And we're all in this river of life with the spiritual life force that is the energy of the river flowing through. Now, the key variable is, do I know the water will hold me? Am I going to fight it? Am I going to surrender to the flow and allow it to carry me? Faith, the root of all religions. Just have faith that your innate wisdom, the innate order of the universe, the underlying intelligence of this whole thing we call life, it's got your back. It's got you. You can show up, do what you know what to do, and enjoy the ride.